reality of every footballer is that there is a day you sign for a club, everyone is happy for you, but there also comes a day, a time, a season, a phase, a stage where you part ways with the clubs, and whether it's on good terms or not, but the reality is that there comes a time where the relationship between the player and the club has to end. On this episode of Oscar Ntsintsi Football, we're talking about some of the players that might possibly leave Mamelodi Sundowns. Love to get your engagement on this as to whether some of the players I'll be mentioning, whether you want them to stay or you want them to go. Obviously, I need to give, an eagle's eye view on some of the players. Try and see things through the technical team, through the eyes of Miguel Cardoso. Miguel Cardoso thus far has had a solid, let's say, 6 months in the club. He has seen potential, he has seen some players, and obviously some of the players he'd want to keep them because of the long-term future with the club, and obviously has to consider the number of games, the Betway Premiership plays, CAF Champions League engagements, the travels. Obviously he's experienced all of these things, and now he has to weigh that and see if some of these players will they be necessary to be kept in at Mamelodi Sundowns, and what and obviously you have to consider things like injury history, the ages of some of these players. Yes, I do go by the name of Oscar Ntsintsi Football, where I engage and discuss on anything to do with football from Africa to the world and from the world to Africa. If you're seeing this space and this content for the very first time, we do engage on anything to do with football, anything that's going to involve an African football player or an African team. We will talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. Now, let's get right into the matter of the matter. There's a whole lot of players that we've not even seen this season at Mamelodi Sundowns, and I don't know whether they will be kept by the club or they are going. I think the good area to start at is some of the players that were on loan. And there are obviously some that I don't want to even mention. There's an Iguodaro who I believe is still on the books of Mamelodi Sundowns, a Nigerian striker playing for Amazulu. I'm not going to mention him. And then there's a goalkeeper calling Eros Watenga or something. And I'm not going to discuss anything on those guys because the club hasn't said a lot about those players. So I'd rather not even mention them or discuss deeper here on this episode. Let's start with SIPHO MBULE. I think his contract is coming to an end, but there is an option for the club to extend, and but it's just been bad, man, for SIPHO MBULE. Now, if you look at how Cardoso wants to play, SIPHO MBULE could actually be a very good asset in how Cardoso wants to employ his players. Now, if you look at the whole picture, there is a possibility that Tebogo Mokoena might actually leave Mamelodi Sundowns after, or even a Marcelo Allende after the Club World Cup. There are interests for these players. I mean, Tebogo Mokoena is 28, 29 now. If he leaves South African shores, he actually might be going to the Middle East. I doubt he could crack, English Premier League or even La Liga, maybe Italy, because Italy they don't mind them old. But SIPHO MBULE could actually fit in greatly into the system that Miguel Cardoso employs. But the challenge with SIPHO MBULE is discipline. I mean, he's got a history of just being obviously my channel is not about pushing negative news or being negative. We're obviously going to criticize players. Obviously, it's called constructive criticism. And these are human beings that we want really want them to do well tomorrow. So whenever we critique a player, it is not to destroy a player, but it is, you know, it's coming from a good place. It's coming from a right place where you want a player to improve on the field and outside. We really want SIPHO MBULE to do well because he's really a multi-talented player, technically one of the best in the country. But I think on this one, Mamelodi Sundowns are definitely going to be releasing SIPHO MBULE. Madi, is he going to go to our rivals? He might, but they'll have to deal with some of his off-field antics. He might go to Kaizer Chiefs. He might even be taken by an Orlando Pirates. But Mamelodi Sundowns, SIPHO MBULE, definitely I don't think they're going to keep him. He is going. Another player out on loan, Morocco, Thembinkosi, Lorch. Wydad Casablanca, they want him. I think they've already placed an offer of 5 million Moroccan dirhams, which is around 9.8 million rands. I believe Sundowns had wanted something in the region of 15 million rands and over. But if really Wydad are serious about this player, I think Mamelodi Sundowns will eventually accept maybe even something in the region of 12 million or so. They want to keep a Lorch and take him with to the Club World Cup in the US of A. So Thembinkosi Lorch is definitely not coming back to Mamelodi Sundowns. He is leaving. Now let's go to our foreign players. Let me start with the player that was taken out on loan as well, but we didn't see him under Gavin Hunt at SuperSport. That is the young 25-year-old born in the year 2000. I'm talking about the Ethiopian sensation, Abubaker Nasir. We really loved this boy. We really liked what we saw when he was given a chance to play at Mamelodi Sundowns. But that injury in the beginning of the year 2023 really killed everything for him. The injury caused by Mponchana, the former Orlando Pirates goalkeeper. I mean, it really, things have not been the same ever since. But I think I saw him playing for the national team not too long ago. I really don't know what's happening with Nasir. And I think he's got a really long contract again with the Mamelodi Sundowns. Is he going to be kept? Is he going to be loaned out again? I think Mamelodi Sundowns will probably loan him out. I don't think they want to bring him back on loan to join the squad. Now, Erwin Saavedra, Mangoba Mngiti spoke highly of this guy. Again, another one who was plagued with a lot of injuries. I think it's just time that Mamelodi Sundowns and Saavedra, they end the relationship. Another one that is definitely going, Mattias Esquivel. I've been listening to a lot of interviews by Miguel Cardoso on radio. He went to Metro FM, he went to Radio 2000 to speak to Thabo, and he actually spoke well of Mattias Esquivel. It's just unfortunate that with the number, if he said if Mamelodi Sundowns were playing every weekend and having a lot of training sessions with the team, maybe he could have a lot of time to actually analyze a Mattias Esquivel. The problem is that when you're playing a lot of matches, there's not a lot of training sessions, because if you're playing every 3 days, you probably only train once, and that's what he told us. Now we know that Mamelodi Sundowns, they don't train as much as we thought because it's just too many games in between. But he admitted to the effect that Mattias Esquivel is a quality player. Another one who's got a fat, long contract. I mean, he's 26 years old, and I think he signed a 5-year deal. They tried to loan him out. It didn't work out. So I don't know. But for me, I'd rather just terminate the contract, because Miguel Cardoso is a firm believer in working with the squad that he can manage well. But obviously, in the South African context, I mean, we play a lot of competition. I don't think there's there's a league in Africa who's got as many cup competitions as here in South Africa. We've got MTN 8, we've got the Carling Cup Black Label, we've got Nedbank Cup, and again, it's the league. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting something else. And again, it's the league, and you have a team like Sundowns every year who compete in CAF Champions League. So Miguel Cardoso clearly has to consider those factors, that there's just going to be a whole lot of games for Mamelodi Sundowns. Consider the fact that there might be injuries, suspensions. So what he said initially, he might have to reconsider, because we need a big squad. Unfortunately, we need a big squad. So as much as he'd want to trim the squad, I'm sorry, I'm picking on my nose, but he really has to reconsider what he had thought initially, because with the travels, with the injuries, with the suspensions, with the number of games in the Betway Premiership, you just have to have a bigger squad than what you would have if you're coaching in the North African leagues, where they only more often than not just have a domestic League Cup and the Premier League or the Serie A or League One in Tunisia. A huge difference. So Lucas Suarez, he's here on loan. He's 30 years old. I doubt he'll be going to the Club World Cup. Probably his last game engagement might be the 1st of June, which is 1st of June and the 24th of May, which will be your CAF Champions League final. Another one I believe that is going. So I've covered all the foreigners that I believe there might have been doubts whether they are staying or going. And then if you have to go to some players who've been with the club for some time, but I mean, we've got a soft spot for some of the players I will mention, but unfortunately, as things are looking, it's not looking good for them. And obviously, you can't ship out players if you're not going to replace them with equally good players or equally good quality. Rivaldo Cotzee is 28, and we love the player. He is the system, but unfortunately, if you're only going to have a player that's going to play not even a third of your games, like not even a quarter of your games, maybe it's going to get to that point where the relationship between Rivaldo Cotzee and Sundowns might have to end. I don't want him to leave, but I think the club is going to let him go. We know that he's playing with an injury, but I think he's one player that can be roped in as one of the development players. I mean, coaches. He is that good of a player, because I remember Rulani saying that he was his secondary coach on the field, just like your goalkeepers would do. A good reader of the game, he can actually become a great coach. His injuries are just not good, and they really delay him having or playing with the squad for long term. Long term, he might not be good for Mamelodi Sundowns. So I think that Rivaldo might actually also be going. Bless Mkhulise. He's been promising, and he's 29 now. He's not a lighty. He's not young anymore. As much as I'm very fond of this boy, but I think it's he must just go. And Cardoso has given him plenty chances. He's given plenty of chances, and with him, he can play anywhere in the midfield, as a 6, as an 8, as a 10. He's that good of a player, but I think he might actually be leaving Mamelodi Sundowns. KB Kodisang came from Portugal with a lot of promise. He's really struggled this season. I don't think he's going to leave. He just has to work on his game and watch closely your Mshishi, your Ribeiro. I think guys that he's competing with, and it was not a good first season for him after coming from Europe. It was never going to be easy. You were never just going to walk into Mamelodi Sundowns first 11, and I think Kodisang, he's not going anywhere. He's a good investment for the future. He's young. He's still 25. And we are keeping this one. Thapelo Maseko, 21, coming from the Val. Love the fact that Miguel Cardoso has been giving him some runs. Another one, I believe that he is going nowhere. Yes, there were times where as a fans we were really frustrated with his how predictable he was. But you can see how Miguel Cardoso is using him. He's using him more like how Mangoba had said in the preseason, that he sees Thapelo Maseko more as a number 9 than him playing on the flanks or on the wing. So Thapelo Maseko, I don't think he is going. He is definitely staying. Zuko Mdunyelwa, another one. He's 25. Now you have to compare other right backs. Thapelo Morena, 10 years in the club. He's over 30. Mkhulise Mudawa, I think he's also 30. So long term, Zuko Mdunyelwa is a keep. We must keep him for long term because he's a very good, he's got good bones, and he's something that can be molded into what we really want at Mamelodi Sundowns. So Mamelodi Sundowns, I believe they should keep this boy, Zuko Mdunyelwa. Dennis Onyango, just yesterday, turned 40 years. With goalkeepers, I was watching, Brazil Serie A club that will be part of our group Fluminense, and Fabio, their goalkeeper, born 1980, he's 45, he's still playing. And then you have what's his name? You have the former Chelsea defender, Paris Saint-Germain defender Thiago Silva, born 1983, he's still playing. He's playing for the same team. So you've got a 45-year-old goalkeeper, you've got a 41-year-old center back. That's Fluminense, the club that's in the same group as Mamelodi Sundowns in the Club World Cup. So I think they should just give, I think Onyango still wants to play. They should give him a year contract and see what happens. Onyango, we should keep. Peter Shalulile, I don't know what are they saying about the contract. Are they renewing it? Is it ending? They are interest. He's only 31. They are interest coming from the Middle East for Peter Shalulile, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, for the other country, but all of them, they're in the Middle East. Would love to see Peter Shalulile breaking that record come Sunday against Magesi. I would love to keep a Peter Shalulile, but I doubt the club are going to keep a Peter Shalulile. This one will be a shock to many. Reyaad Pieterse has been with the club for a long time. I think Reyaad, you're 33. As a goalkeeper, I think you can play until you're 40 or 38 or so. So you still have some years, but I think it's time the club, part ways with the Reyaad Pieterse. Thank you, sir, for serving us, but I don't think there's room for you at Mamelodi Sundowns. Terrence Mashego, 28-year-old, came to Mamelodi Sundowns with a lot of promise in that left back position, but it's just been frustrating. I think this is another player signed maybe because he's born in Mamelodi, grew up in Mamelodi, but I think the club is going to let Terrence Mashego go. More so because when you look at another player that I believe is going, that's MAEMA. It doesn't look like his contract will be renewed as well. MAEMA is 30, Terrence Mashego is 28. Both players have been released to go and play in that Bafana chance squad. A clear sign that they might not be in the plans of a Miguel Cardoso. So MAEMA, Terrence Mashego, thank you guys. We love you, but we also want you to do well, maybe for other teams. Obviously, I'm mentioning all of these players. These are just my opinion. I'm not saying it's the clubs, but it won't come as a shock if a Terrence Mashego and a MAEMA leave the football club. Last but not least, Divine Lunga. He is 29. And here's the thing about Divine Lunga. I think Miguel Cardoso really likes this player. He even made mention of him while he was still at Esperance. Came here, he was one of those defenders that he really used often when he was not injured. Another one who's unfortunate with a lot of injuries. If he stays, I'll be happy. If he stays, I won't be shocked, because Miguel Cardoso is really fond of this player. He really offers us a lot of options. He can play options. He can play in a back three. He can play as a full back. He can play as a wing back. And I mean, the very goal we scored against Al Ahly, it was a cross from a divine Lunga. So, guys, if I did not mention any player here, what do you think about the players I've mentioned? Are they staying? Are they going? Obviously, there's a whole lot of things to consider here. How Miguel Cardoso wants to play, the type of profile of players he wants in his team, and considering that we play different type of teams in Africa. And another litmus test is going to come now in the Club World Cup. It's going to be interesting. Let me hear on your comments below. Do you agree, you disagree with the foreign players I've mentioned, whether they should stay or go? Some of the players we've really loved at Mamelodi Sundowns, your Rivaldos, your Mkhulises, your Master Chefs, you know, the frustrations of watching a Thapelo Maseko. Let me hear on the comments below. Remember, don't forget to subscribe, like and share with your friends and family. Now let me end it there by declaring, may my God bless you all.